You're listening to Operation Self Reset with Jake Naraki. Now, where did I put that reset button? Hello, and welcome back to Operation Self Reset, the one and only place where you can change the way you think, act, and believe in yourself. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and thank you for the responses that I have already received online, the comments, the questions, and concerns that you guys have offered to me. I appreciate the feedback, and I love the communication so far. Keep it up, and this should grow into a huge community, and maybe, depending on how big it'll get, maybe we'll all go to like Florida and have a big party or something, to celebrate this great success. I don't know. But today I want to talk about something that's very near and dear to myself, something that I had to get over to become successful. Well, not really successful, but I will explain more in a minute. And I want to talk to you guys today about fear. What do you fear? Now, I'm not talking about the things that scare you, like getting in an elevator packed with people. Funny quick story about an elevator. When I went to college, there was, I stayed in the dorms, and there was about 13 floors, I remember, in one of the complexes. And I was not on this elevator, but it was a rumor that got spread around, and it was in the local paper and everything like that. Some kids were traveling up and down the elevator one night and decided to get as many people as they could into the elevator. Guess how many kids that they jammed in a standard elevator? Not 10, not 15, 22. There was 22 kids in an elevator, and because there's so much weight, it actually fell all the way into the emergency shaft below ground where the springs are housed, and the kids were sitting in there for about 2 to 3 hours before the fire department could really start pulling them out one at a time. There's so many kids in there that they were standing on each other's shoulders, and then a couple of the kids were freaking out, and then the lights were flickering on and off, and it was getting hot down there. So luckily, I was not in that elevator because that would have been a nightmare. So that's not the fear I'm talking about today, though, because could you imagine yourself in an elevator with 22 other people, just random people? It's getting hot, the lights are flickering, people are starting to freak out, and you knew you were going to stay in there for about 1 to 2 hours? Oh my gosh. Good Lord. Yeah, that's fear. I don't want that. No way. So I want to talk to you guys about what do you guys fear? Obviously, with Operation Self Reset, we're talking about changing yourself, right? And the only way to really change yourself is to get over certain events, certain things that are holding you back. And that's what I mean by fear. What are the events, the things, the emotions, the ideas that are holding you back from success, from achieving your goals? But I'm also talking about the fears that just make our gut turn in knots. The fear that makes your voice quiver. The fear that just makes your whole body kind of go limp. What is that fear for you? Well, I'm going to tell you my fear. And why is that? Because I'm the only one talking to you right now. And hopefully at the end of this episode, you guys can identify your own fears and then post them on the comments on the website, or leave me a a voice message on the website, and I will go over everybody's fears. Not everybody, I'm going to go over a couple, and we'll talk them through. How can we improve on our fears and get over them? So the reason why I really wanted to bring this subject up is because I was thinking to myself, what was my first step when I realized that I wanted to change who I was? When I went through all the processes of, exploring myself and traveling and talking to different people and stuff like that, what was the one fear that I was freaking out about? Well, my one fear that I identified was putting myself out there. That was my fear of getting over the tactic of thinking to myself, my gosh, other people might find out what I'm doing and they might start making fun of me. That was my biggest fear, which is really weird. I didn't mind meeting new people. I didn't mind, I didn't do any public speaking, but I didn't mind getting in front of groups and, telling them my story and all that stuff. It was more of the people surrounding me finding out what made me happy. What was my passion? And so the reason why I bring this up again is because it relates to a story that I'm going to share with you, and it has to do with my first invention, and it was called the Tailgate Spotter. You guys can go check it out, tailgatespotter.com. And the way that I thought of this invention was because I read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and that inspired me to have a passive income. And he talked about a lot of people, how they created businesses, had ideas, inventions, kind of knick-knack kind of things, and they created great wealth because of that. So as I'm reading the book, I'm always thinking of different products and business ideas and stuff like that. Well, when I was traveling to the east side of Milwaukee, I stopped at Home Depot to pick up cabinets. I was rehabbing one of my real estate properties on the east side of Milwaukee there, and I went to Home Depot, and they delivered like 16 cabinets of all different sizes, and they put it in the back of my pickup truck, right? When they put it in the back of my pickup truck, I literally thought I closed the tailgate, right? Well, I'm not going to ruin the end for you. So I'm driving to my properties. I'm jamming out to the radio. It's a beautiful day. I'm on the expressway. Now, this expressway goes through the heart of Milwaukee, which is a very popular expressway, right? So as I'm traveling, literally, there was nobody in front of me and there was nobody behind me. Of course, there was more people coming, but it just felt really eerie. It was just, I was just jamming out to the radio, hanging out, had my arm outside. I was, living that Bon Jovi song, "Living on the Edge, Take My Hand." Yeah, that song. And, but I didn't realize that my cabinet was also living on the edge because it was getting ready to fall off of my truck. And sure enough, as I was proceeding up kind of a little hill in the road, my kitchen sink base cabinet fell out of the back of my pickup truck and landed in the third lane of the expressway. Now, I don't know if you guys know what a sink base is, but it's 36 inches long by 24 inches deep, and it's solid wood. I mean, that thing is a very large cabinet. So obviously, if somebody is proceeding on the expressway, they should see it, hopefully, right? So as that thing hit, it was like a big smack, and I look at my side mirror, and I see that thing spinning, and I'm freaking out. I instantly get that gut feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, there's no way I'm going to slam on my brakes and go and get it because I'm going like 65 miles an hour because that was the speed limit and I don't speed. And so I immediately pulled over in the right-hand lane in the emergency lane, and I got on my cell phone. I'm calling 911. Well, like I stated before, there's nobody around me. And as I'm sitting there, I'm on the phone with 911. I'm looking in the side mirror, and I'm staring at that cabinet just sitting there. And I'm thinking, my God, somebody's going to hit this. My gosh, somebody's going to hit this. And you ever hear that? Oh, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Well, I believed and I knew somebody was going to hit that cabinet. And, well, guess what? Somebody did hit that cabinet. There was a white sedan that proceeded up that little incline. He saw the kitchen cabinet. He locked up his brakes and dove into the emergency lane, the left-hand emergency lane. Right behind that white sedan was a Jeep Wrangler, and that thing had no time to stop, and it plowed right into it. I mean, it was like the 4th of July. That thing blew up like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. That was my very high-tech crashing sound. And I had my hands in my face. I was like, this is ridiculous. Well, I hung up from 911 because, of course, what's the point now? I mean, the cabinet is in a million pieces. That guy pulls up right behind me. We get out, and he was actually, not cool about it, but he was, he was okay. I mean, he was nice about it. He understood it was an accident and stuff like that. We exchanged information and proceeded on our way. Well, I obviously I felt so bad. I was so embarrassed. I was just like, my God, what the heck was I thinking? I didn't even know my tailgate was down, whatever. Well, the reason I couldn't see if my tailgate was in the up or down position is because I had kitchen cabinets blocking my view from my rear view mirror. And I don't know if you guys have a pickup truck, but in your side mirrors, you cannot see the location of your tailgate, right? So as I'm driving down to the east side, I'm feel like crap. I'm embarrassed. I'm hating myself. I'm thinking to myself, there must be other people out there like myself. There has to be a better way, right? So I start thinking, I'm like, I wonder if there's like a device that you can put on your tailgate to let you know if it's in the up or down position without getting out of your truck and all that stuff, right? So I go home that night and I start browsing online, Google searching everything, any keyword, known to man that has to deal with a spotter or a location device on the tailgate, a sensor or something like that. There was nothing out there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be my moment, right? So I start fiddling with stuff, like prototypes, and I have blocks of wood and Velcro and magnets and wire and pieces of steel and glue and tape and all this crazy stuff, right? So it took me literally about 5 generations to narrow this bad boy down into a simple device that attaches to the back of your tailgate to let you know if your tailgate's in the up or down position. What it is it's a magnet that adheres to your tailgate, and there's a little pole with a little flag or my logo on the end. And when you're sitting in the driver's seat of the truck, you look in your side mirror and you can know if the tailgate is up or down depending on the location of that flag, right? Brilliant idea. It didn't scratch the car. It was cheap to make. It was, I feel, and I still believe, a really good design. I mean, it was one of those things like I'm just like so proud of this thing, right? Of course, I told my family, and I didn't tell my friends, right? Because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell them that I'm working on my invention in my basement because they're like, invention? Why don't you just go drink with us? So as the prototypes continued, I finalized my last one. I got it down perfect. It looked good. It functioned well. It kind of made sense, everything. Now, before I say it looks professional, looks really good, now, again, this is me making this in my basement. So this isn't like, a piece of molded plastic, that looks like you could go buy this at Walmart. Of course, it looked a little bit handmade, but still very impressive, what I feel. If you guys have a chance, go to the website, tailgatespotter.com. When I finally finalized that last prototype and I knew that this was my invention, this was my moment to release this to the world and let the world buy tailgate spotters and make me filthy rich. Ha ha ha. I realized I felt an internal gut turning, nauseating feeling. And I knew what it was as soon as I finished the prototype or the finalization of the tailgate spotter. It was releasing it to the public. Now, it might not sound that big of a deal. You're probably like, come on, Jake, toughen up, right? But it was one of those things like mentally, I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to start a Twitter account. I'm going to have to maybe start a Facebook account. I'm going to have to produce YouTube videos. I'm going to have to put this out there. I'm going to have to start telling my friends and family and coworkers and relatives and all this stuff. And I just felt embarrassed, which was really weird because why should I feel embarrassed? This is something I'm proud of. I had a situation that did not turn out well for myself, and I made a product to solve the problem, right? But for some odd reason, I just couldn't get over that. So I knew mentally that I was like, okay, well, I obviously have to still create the website, make some videos and stuff like that before I even start pushing this out there. So I was like, all right, so I got some time. So I was still motivated. I was still feeling good about the whole situation. And when it came time to finally push that publish button, I again had that nauseating feeling. But I was like, you know what? There's so many people out there that have these brilliant ideas and they do nothing with them. I mean, you might be listening right now and you have an idea that is just in the back of your head and you're like, I don't want to tell anybody about this because this is so good. I mean, this is revolutionary. This could change everything. But yet, what have you done to bring that to life? Nothing. You need to. If you're listening, you have that idea, please take the first step and do something about it. Get it out of your brain, put it on paper. When you put it on paper, then start your prototyping. Okay, that's a whole nother podcast. So this is about fears. So anyway, so I finally pressed that publish button. And on the website, I had my videos, I had pictures, I had testimonials, I had, the buy it now button, I had the free shipping, question and answer page, all this stuff. It looked good. I was so freaking proud of it. And to this day, I'm so proud of it because I'm able to share with you guys my process of getting over my own fear. And at first, when I launched it, I was like, okay, cool. I don't really have to tell anybody about this because there's going to be people online that are just going to find it and buy it, right? Well, 24 hours, 48 hours, 30, 72 hours pass. Nobody bought one. Then weeks go by. Then a couple of weeks go by. Nobody continued to buy any. Now, of course, during the process, I started handing out some to my friends and family, and my coworkers, as soon as they started finding out, they were laughing their butts off at it. And you know what? It was all in good fun. By no means were any of them very harsh. Were like, that was a waste of time. You're so stupid. They were very negative. No, none of them were. It was all in good fun, but it was embarrassing for me because they were just relentless. It was like, somebody broke a cup and then they're like, "Hey, if there's only a simple to use device that could attach to this cup so I wouldn't have to drop it." It was just like it was like every single day. And I laugh about it because it was pretty funny. But once I started getting over that fear, I was like, after my coworkers found out, I was like, okay, it started to lessen the load on me. I started believing like, okay, not bad. I was like, all right, I got over that initial fear of putting myself out there. Now, what did I learn about that? And what do I want to tell you guys that you guys can implement in your own lives? Is that there's going to be things that you are interested in. There's going to be things that you want. There's going to be things that you just have the passion and desire for that other people don't. There's going to be whatever it may be, your hobbies, your book readings, whatever. There's people that that just don't care about that. And that's okay. And that is literally a-okay. Because you know why? They don't care. As much as you think that they care and they're going to bring the pain on you and they're going to rip on you and they're going to make you feel lousy and you're going to feel like you wasted their time. No. That's not their time to waste. It's your time. Whatever makes you happy, you have to do for yourself. That's why I said a couple of minutes ago about the whole invention thing. If you have this idea and you feel it's so good, you need to get it out of your head and start acting on it. That's the number one thing a lot of people do when they have these ideas for a business invention, the way to change, the things surrounding them, is that they always want to do it, but they never take action. So, bringing it back to my fear of putting myself out there, after I got over that hump of letting my coworkers know and the people surrounding me know, the response was funny and they're ripping on me at first, but over time, you wouldn't believe how many people came up to me and was like, "Hey, Jake, how's that Tailgate Spotter thing going?" And I started laughing like, "Haha, yeah, I haven't sold any, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 sure, what are you going to do, rip on me?" And they're like, "No, no, no, I think it's a great idea." And then they would start pouring out their heart and soul to me. They'd be like, "You know what, I really have this deep down invention. You want to hear what it is?" I'm like, "Sure." And they would pour out these inventions to me and they're like, "Oh, this would, help so many people and this would help that guy," and so on and so forth. And I realized that by putting myself out there, I started letting other people take action in their own lives. It was so weird. I mean, these people that were like the number one guy that was ripping on me the most pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, how did you do this? How did you file that patent? How did you find a logo? How did you design this? And how did you make the website and all that stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did A, B, C, and D, and I did, I went here and there." And I felt like appreciated. I felt like, wow, you know what? When I put myself out there, the people that are surrounding me will feed off of that. They'll want to improve themselves. They'll want to get better themselves and realize that they have it within them to make inventions and products and stuff like that. So don't feel that your fear is limiting only to yourself. Your fear is scary only to you, but the possibilities of improving the people around you once you get over your fear is amazing. The feelings that will surround you and your closest relatives and coworkers will just be amazing. So my question to you is, what's your fear? Your number one fear? I was just talking and interviewing a public speaker, and he said the two fears that freak everybody out are number one, public speaking. Number two is death. So what are the fears that freak you out? And I'm not talking about a physical fear like a knife in your face or or the dentist or something like that. I agree with you. That stuff is pretty crazy. No, but I'm talking internal fears. Is it rejection? Is it just not feeling appreciated? Is not feeling loved? What is your fear? And I want you to go to the website, operationselfreset.com, write that in the comments, or feel free to leave me a voice message. I have a voice message mailbox on the left side of the page. Record your fear, and I'll compile all the fears and stuff like that, and we'll go over them together. Because the only way to improve yourself is to get over your main fear. Now, of course, there's other fears that affect us, but there is always that one fear that freaks you out. And what is yours? Mine was embarrassment from coworkers and putting myself out there. And I realized once I got over that, life is amazing. I feel more confident. I feel that I can open up and tell people what I'm doing and not feel ashamed. So tell me yours. We'll get through this. Again, thank you so much for taking the time. Go to operationselfreset.com. Also, to check out my invention, tailgatespotter.com, www.tailgatespotter.com. Check out the videos. They're pretty funny, I think. And let me know your thoughts on that. So, again, I'm not selling this product. You don't even need to buy it. I'm not even making it anymore. But it's something I want to keep around for my kids and let them know that they have the ability within them to achieve whatever they want, and that's, again, what life is all about. Don't hold things in. Take action and do it. Now, that's a whole nother podcast about taking action. So, again, thank you so much. Go to the website. Go to tailgatespotter.com. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your fears. Make it a great day. Enjoy life. And we will catch you on the next episode. See ya.